Alright, everybody, welcome back to yet again another video, and it is time for the 2023 Stanley Cup Finals. Oh man, alright, this is an interesting finals because these two teams have actually never won a Stanley Cup before, and this is the first time since 2018 that this has happened, and actually the first time, or like the third time in only the 2000s where this has happened. And it's good for the game. I like seeing new teams win Stanley Cups that haven't won it before. I think it's a very good milestone to reach for a team, and especially for these two teams who, Florida's fought through a lot of years where they were just stuck in mediocrity, and then Vegas, of course, has kind of been good for pretty much their entire tenure in the NHL, so that plays a factor, but, this is going to be a really fun series. I think there's a lot of factors that play into both sides of this, so anyways, we'll get into it right away. So we'll start out with the Knights. And Vegas was like the first place team in the Western Conference, finishing with a 51-22-9 record for 111 points. They beat the Jets 4-1 in the first round. They beat the Oilers 4-2 in the second round, and then they beat the Dallas Stars in the Western Conference Finals 4-2 as well. So they've kind of had a pretty interesting path here. Of course, being the number one seed in the West, you're playing teams that are below you. You're getting home ice advantage virtually the entire time. So that's pretty much something that plays a role there with Vegas. And I've been saying it before, Vegas can roll four lines. And that's something that I don't see with other players. Like, you see guys on this Vegas team where you're like, oh, who is that? Who is that guy? Who's Nicholas Waugh? Of all these people. And guys like that, they're players that contribute to the roster and really help a team win in the playoffs. And I think that's kind of what, Vegas has had and what they've been doing. And they can roll four lines, and they've had good goaltending and good defense to help them out as well. Now, Florida, I would argue Florida's story is way more impressive and actually way more entertaining than Vegas is. And that's not degrading Vegas at all, but Florida, man, they've had quite a run. They went 42-32-8 in the regular season for 92 points. They entered in as the 8th seed. Then they beat the Boston Bruins in 7 games in the first round, beat the Toronto Maple Leafs in 5 games in the second round, and then swept the Carolina Hurricanes in the third round. So you look at those 3 series. Boston, number 1 team in the league. Toronto, number 4 ranked team in the league. Carolina, number 2 ranked team in the league. So you beat pretty much 3 of the top 5 teams that were in the NHL in the Eastern Conference this year, which is unbelievable to think. When you look at a team like the Panthers, they weren't expected to do much, and it was really in that series against Boston. I'm still shocked they won that on some level because it looked like Boston was going to take that series. They were up 3-1. It looked like it was Boston's series to win, and they didn't. And Florida really took advantage of that and has played unbelievable. And it just feels like with the overall story, it kind of feels like it's going to be Florida's year. Now, we'll get into Vegas's leading scores. We're going to do this a little bit differently. Usually, I would have the top 3 scorers. I believe I have the top 5 now, or the top 6, sorry. So now I have a few more skaters to add into this equation. So we'll start off with Jack Eichel. And Eichel has had an amazing story through this year's playoffs. Of course, went through the issues with Buffalo, was named their captain, went through the injury, was traded over to Vegas. Then they missed the playoffs last year, and now they're in the Stanley Cup Finals. Eichel, 17 games played, 6 goals, 12 assists for 18 points. He's had a really good playoffs overall, and I expect that to carry into the finals. And if you're Florida, you're going to want to watch out for that guy, 100%. Jonathan Marchessault played really well, and I believe the last 2 rounds in the second and the third round really kind of carried Vegas to that win against the Oilers in Game 6 and then helped out in Game 6 against the Stars as well. So Marchessault, 17 games played, 9 goals, 8 assists for 17 points. I figured he had a really good year and has had a really good playoffs, and I'm expecting that to continue into the finals. Mark Stone, and I know there's a lot of arguing because I've seen people say that, oh, Vegas is in the finals, the cap circumvention, this and that. Yes, I understand that played a role with Mark Stone. They kept him out of the lineup until the playoffs. I understand that, but it is a part of the rules. And whether you hate the rules or not, they're the rules. Stone, 17 games played, 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 points. I don't understand, too. If that was someone else's team, or if that was their favorite team that did that, they wouldn't be complaining at all. So I don't really understand why people argue it. Ivan Barbashev, I thought Barbashev played a really good playoffs this season and has been really good. A really solid deadline player. And I said he would be, and they got him for virtually nothing. 17 games played, 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 points. Again, playing really well this year's playoffs, just being an amazing player. William Karlsson, 17 games played, 10 goals, 4 assists, 14 points. And this is another storyline. Him and Riley Smith were both, Riley Smith and Jonathan Marchessault were both taken by Vegas from Florida in the expansion draft, and now they're going to get the revenge here tonight to potentially win in this series to potentially win a Stanley Cup against that team. So that's pretty interesting to take into consideration there. And of course, Karlsson has kind of found his scoring knack yet again in this year's playoffs. And then the final score I have for the Vegas Golden Knights is Chandler Stevenson. Stevenson, 17 games played, 8 goals, 6 assists for 14 points. Stevenson, again, another really underrated forward, has played really good just down the stretch, and has always been that solid center that nobody really thinks about when they think about centers. But yeah, I also want to say that like both of these teams, they consistently would get outshot almost every single game they play. Even Vegas would get outshot the majority. Florida would get outshot, maybe even outplayed at points. And, goaltending really helped them out. So, Florida's scores, you got Matthew Tkachuk. And Tkachuk, just the amazing storyline has been unbelievable. I've really enjoyed watching Tkachuk play just throughout these entire playoffs. And he's such a good character. He's really helping grow the game of hockey for sure. 16 games played, 9 goals, 12 assists for 21 points. Tkachuk has scored some really clutch goals. Both of the overtime goals in Game 1 and 2 of the conference finals. The game winner in Game 4 against the Hurricanes. The game winner in Game 5 against the Bruins. Shall I say more? This guy has just been the all-time clutch player for Florida. Carter Verhaeghe's another one. Verhaeghe, 16 games played, 6 goals, 9 assists for 15 points. Verhaeghe's always been that overtime hero, scored in Game 7 to win it for the Bruins. Winning against the Bruins in that first round matchup. Alexander Barkov, 16 games played, 4 goals, 10 assists, 14 points. I thought Barkov has also had a really solid playoffs playing that two-way style. Sam Reinhart, 16 games played, 7 goals, 4 assists, 11 points. And then coincidentally, Sam Bennett, who had 15 games played, 4 goals, 7 assists, 11 points. So both of these Sams there, I thought have both played a really solid playoffs, contributing to that second goal scoring. Reinhart, of course, scored the Game 3 overtime winner against Toronto. And then you have Brandon Montour, who kind of cooled off towards the end of that Bruins series, but still should be known as a really consistent, notable defender for Florida. 16 games played, 6 goals, 3 assists, 9 points. I thought Montour had a really good playoffs overall, and I think it's going to continue into the finals. So goaltending. For both sides, there's been a lot of controversy. Well, not controversy, but there's been a lot of swapping around with the goaltenders. We'll start off with Adin Hill. Adin Hill played 11 games in this year's playoffs. He has a 7-3-0 record, a 2.07 goals against average, and a .937 save percentage. Originally, that started with Laurent Brossoit. Then you got Thompson and Quick, but Brossoit got hurt, and Adin Hill is now going to be the starter likely for the finals, and he has played red hot. He was hot in that series against Dallas, and I for sure expect that to continue. Bobrovsky actually missed the first couple of games there for Florida. Alex Lyon started those games, and then Bobrovsky came in and played. But Bob has been unfreaking believable. There's no question. 14 games played, 11-2 record, a 2.21 goals against average, and a .935 save percentage. Bobrovsky just has been an amazing player, absolutely incredible for Florida, and he is argued to be potentially the Conn Smythe winner for the Panthers if they do win it. It is possible. Game by game record for these teams, of course, when they're East and a West team, they only play twice. The first game was January 12th, and that was won by Vegas 4-2. And then the second game was on March 7th, and that was won by Florida 2-1. So it's an even series there, but I don't think that really matters when it comes to the Stanley Cup Finals, if I'm being honest with you. So this series could really go either way. I have a weird feeling it's going to be Florida's year. I have a feeling that Florida's going to win it this time. I've been wrong before, but I really do think that this could be Florida's season to win it, but you can't count out Vegas either. I doubted Vegas for every single series except for the first round, and even then I was a little bit, I think it's going to be a lot close. But yeah, overall, no matter who wins it, I think it's going to be 6 games. I don't see it going 5 or 4. I could see it going 7, but I really can't tell. But yeah, if either team's going to win it, whether it's Florida or Vegas, it's going to be in 6 games. I don't really have a clear-cut prediction on who's actually going to win this finals. I want it to be Florida, I'm going to be honest, but Vegas has shocked me before. So anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Apologies for this video being so late. A lot of procrastination on my part. But anyways, thank you all for watching. Game 1 of the finals is tonight, and I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.